Hey everybody, and welcome to Indigosky Holistic. I'm Davina. I am the face and voice behind Indigosky Holistic, and I just wanted to introduce myself for all those new people who have come and found me on social media recently. Tell you a little bit about me, various aspects of who I am and what I do, and just share a little bit of that insight and knowledge. So I am an intuitive healer, holistic therapist and Reiki teacher, energy healer teacher. And I have been doing that for about 4 years now. I originally was exploring some holistic therapies just to use for fun, for the family, at home. And whilst on, I guess, my own inner healing journey, exploring a little bit more of my shadow, my blocks, the conditioning that I had, actually to grow and expand a handmade business that I ran for about 8 years, I think. I realised whilst I was exploring the self-worth aspect of myself that actually I was hiding away and running away from an inner knowing that I think I'd always had, that I wanted to take on or play a role in life on this planet at this time as a healer. And the things that I have learned through my own journey are what I use and utilize when I support people. Those aspects and those elements come from various fields, various holistic support modalities, and they started with emotional and spiritual well-being. Just to add a little bit of background as well, I am a married mum of 3 girls. We home educate. My girls have never been to school. 2 teenagers and a 9-year-old. We are what would be defined in that home educating world as unschoolers. That is, we don't follow or ascribe to any type of schooling mechanism or way of our girls educating themselves. And on the other side of that as well, I grew up in a fundamentalist Christian religious household. Just to put it gently and mildly, it wasn't the worst of Christian cults, but it's certainly played a role in the conditioning and depth of my self-worth that I was unraveling when I started looking at why I was not creating the livelihood that I wanted to create with this 8-year-old handmade business that I had back in 2019. And as I explored the depths of my emotional well-being and my emotional, I guess, blockages, although it's not really a term that I get caught up on or use a lot really when I'm supporting people. But the emotional shadow that I was under, a lot of it came from this religious upbringing, the conditioning that's out there in society at large generally, that was holding me back from knowing that I had what it took to follow my dreams, I guess, ultimately, because through the course of healing that I took part in 2019, I realized that healing, health, holistic therapies, emotional and spiritual well-being were where my real passion and desire for supporting people in the world lay. And so by the start of 2020, I had shelved closed, not quite, but put aside that business to begin holistic therapies with people. Of course, 2020 was what 2020 was, and that wasn't without its own interesting situations to navigate. And through that, I then began to realise that there was still a lot of deep stuff needed to be supported for myself. And I continue to explore modalities and tools to support myself with that, whilst also doing certifications in emotional freedom technique, completing my crystal and aromatherapy healing diplomas, and then beginning to use that to support people as they came into me to see me as clients. Adding and factoring into this my role as a mum, and I realised that so many people, so many women, mothers and men as well in high caring roles have this conditioning and these stories that they hold within themselves around nurturing. So self-care, self-love, radical responsibility all became things that became very important to me to share and support with other people, particularly as an unschooling mum of 3, because a lot of the conditioning that we take on board when we're young, we then pass on through the generations to the next generation, to our own, as we have babies and young people to raise. So exploring this through my own journey as a mum, I was beginning to realise that there's an element of that support that's needed for mums and dads or people who support and care for the next generation of young people to be guided through their own healing journey. And so my role as a mentor and a support is to support people to begin to trust themselves, because we can't trust the next generation if we don't trust ourselves. We can't trust our young people if we're raising them if we don't trust ourselves. And this is, as an unschooling mum, this is something I see a lot of in home education and unschooling groups. When questions are asked about how do we navigate screen time, how do we navigate meal times, how do we navigate food, how do we navigate going out of the house, how do we navigate all that with a child-led perspective when so many children maybe don't want to go out of the house? It's like, well, we have to trust ourselves first so that we can then nurture them and know what is part of their natural tendency, because let's face it, lots of us don't want to go out of the house all the time. That's literally part of our natural energy. What is conditioning from ourselves with regards to screen time? I just wrote this morning on a comment that when I realised that it was my own issues with my own screen use that I was then projecting onto my girls, I realised that I had to sort my own screen use out before I judged them for their screen use. And so I then went into my own social media habits, my own video viewing habits, and like, where am I using that as something to waste time from doing way more important things, to switch that up so that I was putting more emphasis on the important things. And then from that, I then realised, well, when I observe my girls with their screen usage, they're wasting time a lot less than I was, because a lot of their screens are their means of education. They are teaching them everything from how to play ukulele and guitar, to languages, to how to draw, to how to write, as well as some of the entertainment and fun that we like to gain from our devices of gaming. So these are all tools I bring into the support that I give, and Another aspect of that, which I've not yet mentioned, is human design, which is another one of those really powerful tools that has helped me to know myself better, that I then use to navigate my family, supporting them through their journey and through their energy, and whether, you know, they're going to want to go out all the time, when they're not going to want to go out, why do they not want to go out, or why do they not want to socialise, and knowing that that's okay. It's okay to not want to go and socialise all the time. We don't all want to go and socialise all the time. And that's one of those aspects about home education and schooling, that we have been caught up in this notion that we have to go into a school classroom 5 days a week for, I don't know how many hours it is, 5-6 hours a day, 5 days a week, to learn how to be in environments that were totally unnatural, and we don't actually ever really have to go into again outside of the school setting, unless you happen to go and work in an office with dozens of people that you really don't like either. But that's against a lot of people's natural energetic requirement and need, and that's why so many people end up burnt out in jobs that they hate, and in situations and environments that they actually hate, because they're not connecting to and listening to their inner guidance and inner wisdom and their energetic frequency and alignment. So these are all the tools and tips and things that I provide. I hold EFT sessions online and at Soul Wellness, which is actually where I am in my therapy room, in Soul Wellness in Sowerbridge, West Yorkshire. And I also do and have some online processes for human design, for self-care. I am starting in September a brand new deep dive self-nurturing process that's going to be a group process. On this occasion, ran for 6 months from September to, I think that brings us to about February of next year, to really deepen rest, surrender and trust in life, because these 3 things have been the biggest components to me finding clarity, alignment and ease in my own life, even as a busy home ed mum of 3. So yeah, running a holistic livelihood. So yeah, any questions, anything that you would like to ask about, anything you'd like to read about, you can look at my blog where I share more about each of the modalities I use and the tools I use. You can also check there for all my digital support offerings, my EFT sections on my website where there's both free and paid for content. And join me sometime for some EFT or for some healing, and I will catch you all again another time.